I have to click start stream on YouTube to start my stream. Even though I'm clicking start stream.
You have to what?
I have to click start stream on YouTube to start my stream, even though I'm clicking start stream on Open Broadcaster. So they now, I guess they allow you to watch the preview to see what it looks like, and then it opens, it allows you to open it. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see how it does. Alright. So, what's up, Sam?
Sim Zalabim.
Sim Zalabim. Da 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 bing bang. Alright, Micah. Thanks for that on live stream. Yep, we know. You're trying to throw up. Zim Zalabim. I think you're the one throwing up on stream, Micah.
What?
You're the one throwing up on stream. Alright, so today I'm going to do a video that was requested just to go over how to use ZXW. I'm sure quite a few of you all that watch probably use it. Those who don't, this will just be a quick overview of how I use it. There may be more in-depth shit that you can do with it that I don't know about. If there is, sorry, I'm not the master ZXW user that I need to be, evidently. Move my mic over here. I need to learn how to use it better, evidently. So, but anyway, so when you get it installed, if you have 2.4, there's a folder in here that contains a keylogger. You may want to just delete it just in case. I don't know what the purpose of it is. I just deleted it out of the folder altogether. You can use 2.3 still. 2.4 has added things for like taking notes and stuff. I don't know if 2.3 has that. But anyway, so this is what you'll have. On Windows 10, sometimes it won't work. I've had one where it wouldn't work on it. Fresh install Windows, it worked again, so it had to be something in the software. Thank you for the shirt. So anyway, so we'll open up ZXW here. I don't use Blackfish because I download all my schematics separately.
Blackfish?
And this program is being run off of a remote server for me. That way we have access all over. Beard goals. We have access to any computer in the office that can use it. So it runs on the server, and then we can log into the server and control it. That way we don't have to have individual ones per computer. So if it looks weird or the scaling's off, that's just because of the fucking computer in the back. So when you open it up, this is what you'll be looking at. A list of everything down the side here. So iPhone and iPad is the majority of what I use. Sometimes Samsung, but it's rare. So we'll open up the subsection. Now if you go down through the list, it's going to list the board in 2 different spots depending on the models that are available. It's also going to list, if it says screw holes, those are for long screw damage. So if you click one of these, we'll load it up. It's only going to show you screw hole mounts that can be damaged and where those lines go. So in this screw mount here, there's 3 separate lines there. So you've got the top one there, and then you can see where they run to. This one runs over here to the CPU, and then you can click back. This one runs over to this chip, and click here, and this one runs to the bottom of the board right there. That looks like possibly like a TriStar or something. But anyway, so that's the screw hole stuff. Now there's a solution list here, and that's where you can add notes. I don't use it much because solutions, there's no necessarily set solution for everything. if you're going to sit there and rely on a set solution, you're not going to be thinking about the problem. And if you're not thinking about the problem, if that solution that's given to you doesn't fix it, you're going to be like, well, what do I do next? So you have to really learn and think about things. We had an iPhone 6 that we did water damage repair on the other day. It was gone for a day and then it came back not turning on again. It had a VCC main short. I had to sit down and think about where were my areas of damage. So I was looking around and I noticed the backlight coil had exploded out of itself. So I thought, well, maybe the backlight driver fucked itself too, because backlight driver is on VCC main. The VCC main short wasn't 100% shorted. It was like 200 ohms. So it could have been possibly maybe a partial short inside a chip or something. So I thought to myself, well, I'll pull that. Well, when I pulled it, the ohms changed on the line and it went to 0. And I was like, well, my chip is off, so it can't be that chip. But I was thinking to myself, well, what's in the area? So we'll go over to an iPhone 6 board, which is here. All these numbers to the side, the A203486, that's the board number, that's the model number. If you look on the boards, this is an iPhone 6 right here, 8203486. That's where the board number is printed on it. Most of the iPhone older 6 boards and stuff, all your information is up here towards the top. I believe the 7, it's in a different location, so you'll just have to look around. What's up, Mark? So moving on. So on the 6, I use ZXW to kind of tell me where is VCC main. So this is all locations where VCC main can be. So I was working over here in this area. I was like, well, I've taken this backlight driver off, I've taken these caps off, I've taken the coil off, and I still have a short, but the resistance changed after I messed with it. So something close by might be causing it. So I looked over here, maybe thinking there was some damage, but I couldn't find any water damage. But when I flipped it over, there was water damage in this area. I had a cap here on VCC main that was messed up, so I took it off, and that wasn't it. It was actually this one right here. That wasn't it, but I noticed I had water damage all down this side. It had stopped right about here at PMIC, so I thought maybe PMIC had something under it. I looked, but there wasn't anything there, but you can see all the points where VCC main is. So I started looking back this way. And one common one with touch ICs is this Apple Pay NFC chip. So I pulled that NFC chip off, and lo and behold, there was corrosion under it. So after cleaning that up and cleaning the solder up and scrubbing it down, my short went away. But that's just a way that you can use ZXW to kind of tell you where to start looking. Union Repair link, got my stencils yesterday. There's some, yeah, the Union Repair premium stencils are awesome. I highly recommend them. I may spend today, since we got kind of a slow day, making Amazon affiliate links too, so you all can buy some stuff that I use if you like it. I think a lot of the things I use are pretty good. There's some stuff that I'm going to buy in the future for myself. I'm probably going to change ultrasonic cleaners here soon. Just have to see what's on the market. I really don't want to spend $800 on a Crest unit, but we'll see. I'll figure out what I can find. But anyway, so back to ZXW. So that's how I used it to find that issue. I highlighted all my VCC main areas, and then I looked at the board. So if VCC main, this is one that I've murdered. I've pulled everything off of it. I pulled CPU off of it in testing if I can pull the CPU without fucking it, which this one was good. These are all NC pads. But I realized that this chip here was on VCC main, and I knew I had water damage right here nearby. So there was a good possibility that this chip was a problem. And that's just how you kind of have to look at it. So you have to look for your problem areas and then say, okay, is the line that I'm having issue with in this area, or is the phone having a problem that would have something to do with the area of damage? So we'll go through here. Function distribution, we'll see what that means. So this just is labeling everything, evidently. These languages are different, so they're not going to show up, but this pretty much just highlights what the chips do. Virtual welding failure point. Okay, so this one is... I have no idea what the fuck they're highlighting here. Are they just highlighting BGA chips? No. See, I don't use half this stuff. Resistance values, let's see. What did they highlight? Did they highlight anything? Yeah, they did resistance values on all the... So that's helpful. See, that somebody has gone through and measured all the resistance values. Micah just showed me something funny. But anyway, so that's somewhat useful. That's resistance values. That's not diode, so it's going to be slow metering all those, but at least they've gone in and put that in. Here's the solutions list. All this is like, here you go, Touch ID. So we'll select Touch ID, and if you go over to the touch area, it's probably got some stuff marked, see? And it's probably in a language. No, it's actually in English. So they've labeled all these, and I like this, but the only problem is majority of it, as you can see, is in a different language that our systems don't read. Now that one's telling you all the errors related to the CPU. That one's telling you errors related to baseband. So I mean, it's helpful information, but I don't rely on it per se, because you can have some more issues. Let's see, you said pull a pad on an FPC connector on the iPad mini. The pad has a power side going to a cap right next to it. There's a via behind the cap and the pad. Yeah, you can just scrape it back if it's tied to the pad or to the cap. Alright, so anyway, let's clear this out. We should be able to clear this. Let's see. I have to close it probably. Alright, so using ZXW, all your stuff is listed here. So say we wanted to work on a 6 Plus. Say we don't know where any line is on this board. If you go down here to the bottom right, which my microscope's in the way, so let me move that. I'll move the microscope out of the way. Actually, we'll just hide the microscope for now. Go away. Alright. So if we go down here in the bottom right, you can see there's a little selection box here. And that selection box will give you a net listing. So this net listing is every single line on the board. So say we're looking for VCC main. So all your power rails will start with PP as a power rail. So let's go PP VCC main. So we're going to scroll down here, and there it is. So see PP VCC main. If we select that, if you watch the board, it will select all the VCC main sections for us, and we don't even have to go and try to find it on the board. And you can do that with any rail on this phone. So I mean, every single line is listed there. So say we had like a 1.8 volt line short, so we need to go to PP1V8 right here, and now we can see every point on the board that has 1.8 volts as an option. So it's a really good tool to use if you're really trying to find an area. It's useful not only for figuring out like just wear lines are, but if you have water damage, it's really helpful. I don't know why that says own. It needs to say how. We'll have to change the title afterwards. But so that's just general overview on how to find lines. Now another useful purpose of this is, say you pulled a chip off and you don't know the orientation of that chip. If you zoom into your chips, you'll see that little numbers pop up. Now those numbers orient to the pad location. So A1 is pin 1, B1 is pin 2, C1, D1, and they're located in a grid pattern like that. So you have a axis and an alphabetical axis and a number axis, and you'll use that to orient the chip. But A1 is always your pin 1, so every chip will have an A1. So here's A1 for Mason. Cumulus A1 is here. Also, whenever you hear somebody talk about M1 pad on Mason, this is why, because it is in the M1 location. The other thing that you can do is, if you ever have a pad lifted and you want to know where it goes, so we click M1, that shows that it runs to this via. That's what the via looks like on the board. If we follow that around, we can look and see where else does this show up. So we see that this line also shows up here at U2403. And if we zoom out, you can look around and see if there's any other locations. So if we scroll down through the board, well, we selected ground. We'll go back and select M1. I use my keyboard. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can look around. You don't even have to know what chip you're looking for. You're just looking for a red dot. So there's nothing on this side. So let's go to the top side of the board and zoom out. Oh, so we've got a red dot here under CPU. We've got a red dot here, which is a test point. So any test point that's just out by itself, you'll know. And then we also have a spot here, which is on this component called FL2034. So FL stands for a filter. So anytime you see FL, it's a filter. So you have FL here. You'll have most power lines and some data lines will have FL filters on them. So we noticed we have a filter here where this is attached, but on a filter, it's pretty much a fuse. It's there to help with inductance, to lower any type of ripple, but they also act as a fuse on these boards. So if you click on the opposite side, this voltage goes straight through, or signal, or whatever it is. So we click that side. That will give us the output side of the filter, which you can see goes through this capacitor, through the trace, and then hits the FPC right here. And you can also do that for like power lines for the LCD. So say, let's go over here. This is it's this one, 1V8 right here. So 1V8 is fed all over the board. You can see it feeds the NAND, comes from the PMIC, feeds a bunch of caps, it feeds the audio IC, it feeds the Mason chip. If we go to the front side, it feeds CPU. It just feeds a lot of different things, but it also feeds the LCD. So it hits this side of the filter and say, okay, we have a short on 1V8, but it looks like there's some damage up here in this area. To use the ZXW here, you can see where your filter is, and you can actually remove this filter to isolate these two sides. So say we had water damage here, and we pull this filter out. Well, now we've isolated these two caps that could possibly be shorted. If those two caps are shorted, you then know that it's not anywhere else on the board that is shorted. It's actually somewhere by the FPC. And then you can easily remove two caps, versus if we just started picking off anything and everything that was on the 1V8 line, you'd have to pick off the audio IC, you'd have to pick off this capacitor, you'd have to take off Mason, you'd have to take off this resistor. Well, the resistor you wouldn't. That one doesn't go to ground. PMIC, any of these caps over here, NAND, any of the caps by NAND, CPU. I mean, there's so much stuff on that line. This will really help you kind of narrow down what you're looking for by, if you can find the filter on the board, you can remove the filter to isolate shorts to see which side of the filter they're on, and that helps you better associate where you need to go next. As far as ZXW goes, I mean, there's not much to it. If you select anything on there, like this is ground, it'll highlight all your ground planes. Any of your test points, you can click a test point, it'll show you where it goes. It goes under CPU there. This one goes to the GPS sync line, I believe. No, it's this one. No, it's not that one either. Which one is it? That's that one. So that's GPS sync line. You can see it goes to baseband and it goes to CPU. So that's a brief overview of how ZXW works. Any questions?
Hey there. Can I help you?
Yeah, my cousin is looking for one of those.
Fidget spinners?
Yeah.
Any questions? So there's ZXW Boardview for spinners.
Black one? Alright.
I had a Trojan, yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay, Mark.
$7.42.
Would it be easier for me to pay with cash?
It doesn't matter. Nah, it's good. Right back.
Let's see if anyone has some questions.
Could you sign that there for me?
Remotely for security concerns. No. It's run remotely so it can be shared.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem. You have a good day.
Is it not diode measurements in ZXW? Let's see. So the question is, ZXW comes with Blackfish. Do I use it? I don't use ZXW Blackfish. Just because I'll open up here and show you all. Let's see. So on our server, we have a folder for schematics, and I keep all my schematics in here. That way I don't have to worry about Blackfish working or not. Blackfish works sometimes for me, not all the time. I can check it on here and see if it'll work, but I keep all my schematics here. So if I go in, I have those. I also have started keeping diode measurements. So I can open up my image there, and I've got all my diode measurements written down. So I know how much each pad should read. Blackfish is just a schematic thing. It's just a schematic lookup that they offer, which is convenient. It's nice to have one location, but I've had problems with it working properly. I don't use pads just because pads, the availability of schematics was kind of hit or miss at times. I'll also show you all this. I've started writing down. I haven't added to it much. I need to add more, but just a general purpose like repair thing. that I've run into. So symptoms and then solutions, just whatever the possible solutions are. I don't use them much, but they may be helpful to somebody if I'm training or something like that. These are kind of please bro things.
Please, bro.
Is Blackfish a DRM'd PDF reader? I don't know. So that's just something that I've added. It doesn't really mean anything. It is somewhat a solution, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's correct or not. So that's something you can just do on your own if you wanted to. I've got every schematic that's here. I mean, those are all in there. So like again, FPC, we did both of them here. This is the main connector and the connector for the front camera. It's just something to write down so you have access to them. Any more questions on ZXW? Let's see if we can use this 6 Plus to test something. So it's saying that there's a test point right here. Let's see if we can find it. This is a 6 actually. So let's go to a 6. Did you get your schematics from Mentor pads? No, I get my schematics from the internet. The schematics do not come with ZXW. I downloaded them individually. I will post up a link to a download for my schematics if you all want, but I can't do it on the description since they're copyrighted material. Most of the time we just post them in like Google Docs or something. I can post it in chat. Alright, so iPhone 6, let's do some test pad locations. So it says we have a test pad right here. So let's see if we can find that. So it's supposed to be right in here. Okay, so there it is right there. So it said there was a test pad here, and there is. So if we go here and we scrape this back, as you can see, there's a test point there, and we can actually measure this since I have the CPU pulled. So if I go here and I meter this test point, and I go in here, it's the 3rd row, 5th over. So 3rd row, 5th over. Let's see. There you go. So let me pull that back up. I forgot you all can't see it right now. Let me enable the microscope. So the test point in question is supposed to be right here, which it is. You can actually see the outline of where they cut out for it. And then you can measure from that test point to the 3rd one in, 5th pad. You actually can measure that and see that. If you've never seen a CPU pulled, this is what the underside of it looks like. All the pads you see are NC pads that are pulled. So, no big deal. Let's see. I'll have to upload the files. Let me see if I still have it zipped up. That'll be the key. Is it still zipped? Yeah, I still have it zipped, so I can upload that right now. Hold on. NC stands for not connected or no continuity. I don't know. I just say it's not connected. So on the schematic here, that pad right there, there's a pad right below it that's lifted, or actually to the right of it. So this pad right here is the one that we were metering. F3 is missing, On ZXW, if you want to see if a pad is NC, you can either select the pad, or you can go up and let me find it real quick. So we want to show, so here where it says show hidden NC, if we click that, it will highlight every NC pad on the board. So if we zoom out, all the blue spots are NC pads. So if you ever lift one of those pads, it's not a big deal. There's a lot of those pads on the board. They're just there for stability. I don't keep the NC pad thing on. It's just annoying. It's also a big relief when you pull a pad and then you go check to see if it's actually useful, and it's okay. So that's always a relief. But that's what NC stands for. So let me upload this file. Choose file. No, I don't want to upload that. Open. Yeah, find a fucking useful uploader. There we go. Open. So it's 118 megabytes, so it'll take a second to upload, especially since I'm streaming at the same time. Alright. NC means normally closed. Well, that's cool. I'll still consider it not connected because it's not connected. But I'll remember that. That destination is just for switches though, right? What do you mean destination is just for switches? When you lift an NC pad, to me, it means no cry. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, Lewis has a lot going on in his head, so he speaks fast. Relays and switches, it's translated to BGA as not being connected. Okay, that makes sense then. We'll just stick with not connected. The NC pad is the one that takes a heavy weight off your chest whenever you lift a pad. Another thing is you don't even need ZXW to tell an NC pad. So like, let's take these for example. If I had pulled this one, I would start looking around to see, is there a trace that runs off from this pad? There's no trace around it. You can see traces here for all these ground pads in the center. They're all interconnected. They have a y'all can't see it again. Duh. Keep forgetting I keep turning the microscope off. Anyway, so these ground pads here, they all have interconnected traces. So you can see that they connect to something. Well, let's say that this one doesn't have any traces around it. Okay. Well, if you look in the center, is there a copper point in the center of this pad that would say, okay, well this goes straight to a via? We don't see any copper trace here. You don't have to scrape in, but if you just move your tweezers around on the pad, if there's a copper trace there, you'll see it. It's fairly noticeable. I don't know if I have any that are actually pulled here. I can try to pull one though. They go straight to a via. These test pads are a good point. They go straight to vias. Let's see if I can lift this pad off. That's gonna be the problem. Alright, so that test point's coming up now. Alright, so I knocked this test point off and I'm like, well crap. Does this test point, well we know test point goes somewhere, but does this pad go somewhere? If I just lightly scrape around here, you can see I'm not digging into the board, I'm just scraping off the excess. You can see, look, right there is a copper point that doesn't scrape away. It goes down into the board. So that point says there, even though this pad's missing, there was something that's supposed to be connected there. So you would have to solder to that point and either run a jumper wire off of it, or I know there's companies out there that make kits for pad repair, but I've not ever tested one of those. I just usually solder a wire to it and run it either a small jumper over to the side, or if it needs to go somewhere, you can run a jumper over to where it needs to go. That's true with any connector too. So like this one here that I scraped back, this is actually a via that goes to a test point. So if I had broken this connection, I would just run my jumper wire across. Alright, let's see where our upload's at. Alright, it's almost done. It's at there's my DC power supply controls. It's at 80 megs. It's got 20 megs left. But any more questions about ZXW, how to use it, how do you compare them to schematics? Would you say ZXW is only good for Apple or other board views like Samsung? Others are they just as detailed? Samsung, some of them are as detailed, some of them are not. So we'll go into the Galaxy series. Let's choose like an S5. So they're going to be fairly detailed, but not all of them will list the parts. So this one lists parts. It also lists the line that they're on. But if you go into like the S7 Edge, it may not list all that stuff. I don't think this works in Linux that I know of. So now this one lists the parts too. Let's see if it lists the lines. Yeah, it lists the lines too. Some of these don't though. Pad kits, yeah. I don't know. I always wonder how the pad kits hold stuff down. So that one's fully populated also. Let's just pick a random one, J500, whatever the fuck that is. This one's not going to be... See, this one doesn't have details. It'll show you where all the pads go, but it doesn't tell you what the chips are, and it doesn't tell you what they're called. And that'll be the case with a lot of these. Like, you've got Sony phones on here, LG, there's a Nexus 5. The Nexus 5 is fully listed. You can read everything on it. There's your memory chip right there. That's a eMMC chip. You could read that with a reader. Let's see. HTC One. I mean, a lot of these phones are just so cheap. Like this one's not populated, so this one doesn't give me details. It just shows me where the pads go. So it's not all the same. Is that done?
Still transferring shit.
Okay. Go ahead and pull that one apart. We also need to put the one back together for the place. Don't like the new Samsung designs for screen replacement and part replacement. Yeah, Samsung screens and stuff have gotten a little out of hand. When I install ZXW, Blackfish loads but doesn't display any schematics. I don't know what I did wrong. I tried reloading it three or four times. We'll try loading it. I don't think it'll load here. Let me see. I closed out the wrong thing. Alright, so we'll try to load up Blackfish here. Actually, it may be internal to it now. Let's see, I think you have to load it from inside ZXW now. Alright, so schematic diagram, open schematic diagram, Sapphire, not found. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have it on here, so I don't know if I deleted it or what. I just don't use it. I know it was in the old one that I had, and I opened it and it worked, but it worked sometimes and sometimes it didn't. So I just gave up on it. Yeah, the AMOLED screens, they're so thin now they pretty much break with any type of pressure that's incorrect. Alright, let me see where your all's the schematic stuff is. Alrighty, download the file is ready. I'm gonna have it delete after 30 days, so if you all want it, get it within the month. Alright, chat, there's the link for it. So is there anything else that you all have questions on before we shut this one down? .300 kilobytes a second. Yeah, I don't know what the uploader allows. I just found one that was free and put it on there. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Ain't that right, Micah?
What?
You know what you need, Micah?
What?
You need a fudge round.
What you need, Chris?
What?
So your mom will get you some more Hot Pockets.
Hot Pocket.
Because hers is exploding.
No problem, Zach. We got 37 viewers. That's a new high.
View bots.
It's the view bots. We need to make a whole net of view bots so we can get all the YouTube monies, Micah. Came in late, but did you do a compare to Boardview? No, I can show you Boardview. It's a good one. Boardview is a piece of software that Paul Daniels made. I really like it for MacBook stuff. He's trying to figure out how to get it converted over for the iPhone and iPad schematics. But let's just open up like a classic A20 2530. I've got it associated now with the Boardview stuff, so you just have to open it now. Paul added that recently, which has been awesome. But this is what the Boardview program looks like. It's similar to ZXW. Paul has added more features though, so if you hit Control F, you can search components. As soon as you start to type in something, it'll pop up. So if you type PP, you can type in that. So you can type in G3 hot. It'll bring up all the lines, and then if you want to select one of them, so let's say PP bus G3 hot, that's what we want. Now it'll show us everywhere on the board. We can flip the board over and oops, not what I wanted. So on the back side of the board you can see all the locations, and if you click them it will show you where they run via a wireframe. If it goes to the other side of the board, it'll show you where they go in to the other side of the board, so you can flip it over and see exactly that. Like it's highlighting those 3 spots and we can see these spots. It's really helpful. Highly recommend that you pick it up. Paul is working on extra features for it also, and I told him that he needs to start charging for it. Hopefully he will, because it deserves some money for the amount of work that he's put into it. I would happily pay some money for extra features or anything like that. And I think he should make a free version and a paid version that has more options. Comparison strong points and weak points between the two. ZXW, I don't know, is there a strong point or a weak point? I would say the wireframe showing you where they go is helpful, but I mean honestly, if Paul was to do like a thing where it just showed all the red points on the board, it would be the same thing. I told Paul, I think he's got it on here. Yeah, you can do annotations on here. I wish with ZXW that you could locally store annotations for yourself. That way you can mark things on the board, and no matter if you could connect to their server or not, you could still have access to those and still be able to see schematics. That's the only drawback to ZXW, I think, since it is server based, which they do that so that people can't steal their work, which is ironic, I guess. But being server based, it sucks when the servers are down. I agree, Paul. Paul Daniels is trying to work on iPhone and iPad schematic stuff to work. Did you try that new program? I haven't tried it, no. I'm sure there's other programs that will come out that will be good too. I just want to see one that, like, ZXW is updated pretty regularly. So until I see a program that's updated as regular as ZXW is, I'll keep my money where it is. It's only like $60 a year. I mean, it's fucking cheap. That's what he was talking about, using the pads files to get it figured out, but he said the way they're, something about the way that they're coded or something is different, so I have to figure it out. Any more questions? Concerns? I really don't use Paul's program much because we don't see many Macs that as much as we do iPhones. We get a Mac every now and then, but most of them you can look at the board and kind of tell what's wrong with them. I hope I'm Micah.
Hey there, can I help you?
How you doing? Did these light up?
Yep.
Dropbox with schematics. Okay, share a link here. Yeah, go ahead, Martin.
Just the one? Alright. 2 of them.
I'll have to probably add you mod.
Y'all sell a lot of these?
Yes, we do. Alright, it's going to be $14.84.
You should be able to post now, Martin. Beep 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 beep.
Guys working out?
Which one's that? The light up ones are 12.
Okay, 12?
Yeah.
Boom boom da boom boom.
Are they different from the ones from Five Below?
I'm not too sure if they are or not. Alright, 5/16 change. See here real quick.
No questions. Waiting on Martin to post that link.
No problem. You both have a good day.
There we go. So Martin posted up a link for you all for downloads of the schematics. We're not warrantying that one that he just dropped on the floor outside.
What was it?
I think he dropped it as soon as he walked out.
Oh.
I'm glad I could help, guys. Any more questions before I go? I'll give you 1 minute to post any questions, and then I'm out of here. We added some more shirts to the t-shirts that are available in the description. We'll see what gems Martin has in his Dropbox. Yeah, you got quite a few in there. I like that they're subdivided too. It's nice. Apple schematics. Let's see what schematics you have. The G5. Damn. Are those the gems we're talking about? Yeah. Micah's got some gems for you in his pants. Yeah, I posted up the Flux one last night. I asked Lewis what his shirt size was because I really want to send him one. I think he would thoroughly enjoy the Flux one. I'll show you all the website for the shirts and stuff. So the products we're selling right now. Let's see. We'll go to the storefront. So if we go into the storefront here, you can see all the different shirts that we have. I'm gonna close this out because that's annoying. So we have it's the coil shirts. Here's the new one, the Flux one. This is called No Flux Given. I thought it was a nice little play. And then on the back of it, I give no flux. That was kind of cool. The date, the time that it ends is not really important. It just means it resets. So whenever they get to a reset point, they'll just show back up. I also got this one for Lewis.
Yeah. You're right with you.
Can I do for you?
I was coming to look at
Oh, the 7? Okay.
Yes? Hold on. They're in the freehand.
Not exactly.
Ah.
Oh, we weren't so long. You had my name in It's open to any of them.
Just this is a month, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So open to any.
We've got two of them, so if there's, I don't. They should both be in similar condition.
They look both the
But
same.
yeah.
Well, you might as well get what you want and then keep it for a while. So you want me to transfer from your savings to give me transfer to 50. Did you get your check put in the bank? I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I put them in the industry.
I'll go through real quick. Okay, so
Can you grab a cable out front?
What is it?
iPhone cable out front for her.
iPhone cable?
Yeah. Grab one.
Sliding cable?
Yeah.
how much are the spinners?
Seven.
There's $7 for the regular ones, and then 12 for the
Double
light
white
ones.
ones?
Yep.
They are crazy.
Just grab a 2-pack. Just keep one of them so you can use it. Your feeble hands. Don't hurt your feeble hands. Just rip the box up and do it. They don't need the box.
Yeah, dude. What if we wanted to reuse the box or something?
I know. What if we did?
Sort of paperwork on it.
Yeah, I can do it too. It comes with a warranty. Yeah, they give warranty on their cables for a year. So if it ever breaks, all you have to do is register the cable. It's got a serial number on the side of it. If it breaks or anything, they'll replace it for free. Those are supposed to be, we use those all the time. They're supposed to hold up to, I think it's 10,000 bends before they start breaking.
How did y'all sell them for?
Normally for the 2-packs, they're $20 for both of them. Yeah.
That's how much you can get on this charger.
We also have we have a 4-pack out there that's $35. Alright, so it's $5.50 on the phone.
Yeah.
Are you all good to go? That's
Yeah.
all right. Okay.
I had to transfer some money.
There you go. Just sign that one for me. There's your receipt.
Thank you.
You'll have your old phone or your SIM card with you?
No,
Okay.
I lost my old phone over the
Okay.
weekend.
Who you with?
AT&T.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
just-
we're gonna go up there
after
tomorrow.
prom party until I sell them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, just pop your sim in. It should automatically pull your carrier settings, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is she coming on her phone right now? Yeah. Oh, thank you.
No problem. Have a good day.
You too.
This is backlight thing.
Alright,
just
let's
come
go
up
through chat real
just
quick and then end this
gingerly.
stream.
Take it up gingerly.
I can't hear what you're saying.
The backlight.
Yeah, it's just adhesive around the edges, so go all the way around the edges, then it'll come up.
Really fast.
OpenView overview developer was supposedly creating a viewer for pads. This account has already generated too much traffic and has been temporarily disabled. Oh, that's funny. Just gonna do it again. I've worked for LG G-Pad. G-Pad I've done screens on. I've not done anything else. Alright, so if you all want to get a t-shirt, you can. If you don't, it's cool. This one is a pretty good one. The Michael Oberdick special. Chris sits to P on the back of it. Hashtag Underdick. And then we have a series that I'm making. We have the Gatekeeper that says, "Are you the Gatekeeper?" And then we'll have one that also says, "I am the Keymaster." Some of you all may get the reference, some may not. We have several shirts. The Coil one, which is the one that I have. The Need a Boost shirt, which is the... these come in different colors, by the way, so just select the one that you want. You don't have to select the black one if you don't want the black one. Just black shows up easier. Gray is actually a really good color. I like my gray shirt most. That's the one that's Need a Boost. It's an iPhone boost circuit. But that's pretty much it. ZXW is a very helpful tool. I recommend it. If there's a better option out there, use it. Whatever helps you the most, they can give you a good overview of the board and kind of explain everything. That white plastic layer is part of it. You should be able to see the bottom of the keyboard if you pull it all up correctly. The original Ghostbusters, yep. But anyway, I don't have any boards right now to work on. If I did, I would do one. But nothing right now. We're just doing a bunch of busy work. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just post them in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It helps me know. Are you separating the plastic too? Okay, cool. You got it. We're going to work on some MacBooks today and get those all together. We worked on some water damage ones yesterday. I should have filmed them, but one of them was simple. It was just a backlight driver. The other one was just some corrosion that we had to clean up. But thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And everybody have a good day. If I get something in, I'll sure as hell put it up for you.